I hit recorded drop, you can't ignore.
Good morning. So we finally got Larry here, and we're finally gonna lower the 911. We've got the quick jacks under here, so we're just gonna put this in time lapse, go to work, and I'll show you a bunch of before and afters, not a how to. All right, thanks. Nope, I thought I'd let you take a look at it. All right, so let me show you I'll show you suspension stuff first, then I'll tell you what my problem is and why I'm doing this. All right, so here's the new H&R Springs. I didn't change anything else. Actually, when we pulled this all apart, the boot was good, the bump stop on the top was not cracked, the silicone, even though it's dirty, the bushings up there were good on the top hat. Everything was actually in really good condition. This car only has 50,000 miles on it. So, and I've had it since it had 32,000 miles. So what was different in the video that I linked in this car is this bracket here. It's 10 millimeter nut and screw on the back side. You got to go in from this way, and it's a 10 millimeter. It comes off real easy. On the video that I linked on the 996, that bracket I think was on the front. So what do you have to take off to change the front springs? You don't have to actually pull the spring out of the car. You have to, and you can see I didn't even pull the strut assembly out of its joint. So all right, that's better with light. All right, so this kind of sway bar link. Here's your lower control arm joint right there. So you just loosen it. Don't take it off, just loosen it. And that'll allow this arm to flex down. And disconnect this and just let this hang out of the way. So your sway bar will be loose. And what else do you disconnect? Nah, I think that's it on there. Yeah, and then everything else is on the top. Oh, we disconnected this because we watched that video. But this has enough play in it. I don't think you, on a 997.2, I don't think you need to disconnect this wire bracket. We did it just to be safe, but honestly, I don't think you need to. I think you just disconnect your swing arm link and your lower control arm, the inboard one, this side of it, right there. Just loosen it, and this whole thing can come down lower. As far as the other side, I'll show you. One other thing I forgot to mention to disconnect, which we forgot to disconnect, and I saw this in a video, not for suspension, but for something else. This little link here. This link here. See that little tiny dog bone link there? Yeah. Not that one. That's, all right. This is your sway bar, not that one. The one behind it. That little tiny dog bone. Disconnect that. It's on the driver's side only. That is the position for your headlights. If you have auto leveling headlights, that's how it knows whether the car is level or not and moves the headlights up or down. So if you don't disconnect that, you have a chance of messing it up. I forgot to disconnect it. I've only driven the car at night one time since I installed the springs, so I don't know if it's messed up or not. I just put my thumb right in the grease. That's awesome. So I hopefully didn't mess it up. Only time will tell. So don't forget to disconnect that. Okay, under the frunk, it's just these three. And they're deceiving, but you can see the marks on there. They're slotted. They actually go from here to about here. They go in and out for camera a really good amount. I just haven't cleaned any of this up. This is apparently this moved at one point, or it used to be here. I never pay attention to it. I've always had the car on the outmost setting because I only drive on the street. I don't drive on the track, so I try not to have little to no camber. But then this just pops off and it's slotted, so you can just pull this out of the way. And there's your nut. Now you're not gonna, this is a 21 millimeter nut. And this is your PASM cable. Let me show you right down here. Just disconnect your PASM cable. Just disconnect it, and I'll show you the special tool I use to get that off. Let's go to the toolbox, actually. I'll show you right now. So, and you can get, this is a Amazon one, it worked just fine. You can get it, what you need really is a Schwab. Schwab makes these tools on ECS Tuning. But I'm not sponsored by them, and I'm not promoting who's better. Showing you what I used and what worked. So this is what I use. So you can put the PASM cable through there, and then you can still put this on the nut and use a air ratchet or electric ratchet like I got to get off. So 21 millimeter for the front, focus, and 19 millimeter for the rear. And I need this. The wheel wouldn't have fell off. So what I did was I loosened these three mounting nuts, and which I want to say they're 12 millimeters. I loosened those, and the whole strut assembly lowered because I loosened all the components in here first, and then came and loosened these, and the whole thing went down. Once it went down, and it's no longer mounted to here, you could center this piece up, and you can get this off with the air ratchet. You can also, you see those slots in that washer? The shaft is slotted, so you can put a screwdriver in there like the guy did in the video. You can put a screwdriver in there to hold that so you can tie the nut on. The alternative thing you can do, you may not want to do, is, let me slide this boot down. I'll slide the boot down. The alternative is you can put a vice grip on there, on the top of that collar, and hold it in place while you torque the nut on top. Which is, we did both methods just to try them out, and they both worked. They worked just fine. So that's the front suspension, pretty easy. It's actually a lot easier than you think. The rear suspension is exactly like the video that I linked. Let me look from underneath. All right, for the rear suspension, you have to, oops, sorry, a little camera shake there. You have to loosen, so this is so you got the forward trailing arm and the rear trailing arm in the back. This is the one all the way in the back. So on the other side of this, see there's a big channel right here, 18 mil, loosen that. This will come down. Undo your sway bar link here. Undo your shock mount here. And it actually on the back you can do everything on top first, and then do this part second. It's not gonna move anyways, even if you get this loose, because it's still mounted up top. And if you get the top loose, it's not gonna move because this is still installed. The other thing we did, because it was just super easy, the guy doesn't show in the video, but I wanted to tell you, 4 bolts. On the sway bar link, disconnect it here, and then this little dog hang, disconnect your 4 bolts right here. I think they're 12 or 13 millimeter. Here, 2 on the other side. Take your sway bar out of the car, just put it on the ground. Get it out of your way. If you get it out of your way, it'll be easy to swing this out of the way. Once you have this disconnected and you have a disconnect from the top, you can slide this off. See, it's just like a fork shape. You can, because this will be disconnected. Come back here, see? there's a sway bar link, that'll be out of the way. So you can just slide that strut right off the top of this. It's smooth and rounded on purpose. And then you can, reinstall it, what we did was we used a floor jack and pushed on this end. If you look right there, you see it has a little square end. Just focus. Okay, see the little square end? It's got a square end. So we pushed up on it, because it's actually, if you look at it from that point of view, it's kind of a square. We pushed up on it to get it up on this lip, and then just pry barred it into position. And then we just get the bolt through, and then that's it. So that's all you have to do on the bottom. Now you have to take this one out and completely to install the springs on the back. On the front, you don't take the strut out, you only take out the spring. Let's look inside the car here. I'll show you what else. Here's a difference from a 997.2 to a, I think the video had a 996. I don't know if the .1s are like this or not. So on a .2, I'm only gonna show you half because you don't need to see the whole thing anyways. The camera, it's not on. So you gotta pull this off, 6mm Allen. It's not super tight, it's not super torqued. You pull this plastic piece off, and right under here, right under where it has the Bose logo, there's a T30 screw, a very long screw. You pull that out, this entire Bose thing will slide forward. I don't know why it keeps losing focus. This entire Bose subwoofer will slide forward like a shelf. Once it slides forward, all you have to do is back here, you'll see once it's out of the way, there's carpet under there, a little carpet pads, a little square soundproofing and stuff. You pull those out. Let's see if I can find a picture. If I find a picture of it, I'm gonna put the picture right there. You pull those out, those little square pieces, and it's just foam. They're easy to take out by hand. You don't need any tools. You pull those out of the way, and then you'll have access to the same 3 bolts that you have on the front strut. You'll have the same 3 on the back. And that's it. You just drop it out. Then once you have it out on the bench, that's when the spring compressor comes into play. You use a spring compressor on the rears. You don't need it for the front. For the front, you can do it just like the video. The rear, you can do it just like the video. He also uses a spring compressor. One problem we were having is with the new springs, with how tight the coils were, we didn't have enough space between the coils to grab them. So what Larry did, Larry's smarter than me, we took a heavy 2,000 pound, I think it was 2,000 pound zip tie, heavy duty zip tie, went around the base of the strut and under where the base of the spring sits. Put the spring compressor, the bottom hook, under the base of where the spring, and the top hook on the spring itself. And by doing that, using the heavy duty tie wrap held the threaded shaft of the spring compressor from popping off. So then we had one side completely squeezing the whole spring, and then one side squeezing the spring to the base. That way we could bring it down center and center everything up. Because it just wasn't enough, there wasn't enough space between the coils on the H&R Springs to do that. It's also because we had a cheap spring compressor. I mean, if you've got a really nice spring compressor, like the wall mounted kind that you just got the triple handle and you just spin it and you're done, piece of cake. Or if you got a press or you got some other way to do it, congratulations. I wish we did. We had the absolute cheapest, go rent it from O'Reilly's or Advanced Auto Parts spring compressor you could get. So we used what we could. I wish we recorded that, but I didn't realize the GoPro I don't know, lately the GoPro's been letting me down. I've been recording all my videos lately on the iPhone. And actually it shoots a better quality video. So we may nix the GoPro and just do everything iPhone-wise. Okay, now that we got the car in the air, and you're wondering, why did I pull off the front wheel? Just to show you the spring. I actually didn't pull it off just to show you the spring. I pulled it off because you can call it bad timing, you can call it Murphy's Law, you can call it whatever you want. So, took the car to get an alignment. Not even going to say the name of the place. They pissed me off. They couldn't do it. Whatever. But I found out I have a CV axle boot either broken or came off or leaking or whatever. The hell. Just pure crap timing. So we pulled it off to look at it. So let's look at what's broken. All right, so if you made it this far in the video, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate the subscriptions, the likes, the comments, appreciate it all. So this video that I made for you guys didn't go the way I intended. I intended to make a whole DIY video and show every step of the process. Unfortunately, the GoPro I was using just turns itself off, not even halfway through the thing. And then secondly, my friend Larry, shout out to Larry, he's a humongous help. He's a great buddy of mine, but he has a full-time job and he's on a board for something else. So he's busy all the time. So for him to be able to take time out and do things with me is rare because he's a very busy person. He doesn't have my level of freedom, which, so that's why he's not in a lot of videos. That being said, he's already said he's gonna be in more videos. So thank you, Larry, for the help. Thank you for this, and for everybody watching this video, again, I apologize. It didn't turn out to be a DIY like I initially planned, but if you look at the link in the description, you'll see the original video that I watched, and it is 99% exactly the same way we did it. There's only two things different. One is the placement and removal of the brake wire bracket, and the second thing is the removal of the subwoofer and carpet. Actually, in his video, he doesn't even show the removal of the subwoofer, but he talks about it. But that's it. Everything else exactly the same on a 996 as it is on a 997 as far as removing and installing the H&R lowering springs. It's exactly the same setup. So watch that video. The link is in the description, like I said, and tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to have that one will be a kind of a DIY for what happened with the axle. I don't want to give it away yet, but we might have a broken axle. We may not. Tune in tomorrow and I'll upload it about the same time, maybe a little earlier tomorrow afternoon. All right. Thanks for watching.